welcome to an Alfie James production, Animal Farm by George Orwell, performed by members of the Black Dog Theatre Creation, supported by the Arts Council England, Colchester Borough Council and the Asda Community Foundation.
Animal Farm, a fairy story by George Orwell. In the past, Mr. Jones, although a cruel master, had been a capable farmer. But now he spent more and more time in the Red Lion. Every night he came home drunk.
Who made the cows and sheep so meek? Who feeds the cats and dogs their meat? Who's the loving father of fur and feather? Man, beauteous man, wonderful man.
His farm was now thoroughly neglected. The fields were full of weeds and the animals were underfed and in poor condition.
Who guards his servants with a gun? And when their time to leave has come, who leads pigs and horses to slaughterhouses? Man, masterful man, powerful man.
He went up the stairs, undressed, and climbed unsteadily into bed. As soon as the light was out, there was a stirring and a fluttering throughout the farm. Word had got round the animals that there was to be a secret meeting in the big barn. Old Major, the stud boar, had something to say.
Last night I had a strange dream. Many years ago, when I was a little pig, my mother and the other sows used to sing a secret ancient song. I learnt that song. I learnt its words. I learnt its music. But it has long since passed out of my mind. Last night it came back to me in my dream. Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of land and sea and skies, hear the hoofbeats of tomorrow, see the golden future rise. Wait, no noise, wait, or we'll wake up Jones. I'm over 12 years old, and I have had over 400 children, I think. I think I understand the nature of life on earth as well as any animal now living. Now listen carefully, for I do not think but I shall be with you for many months longer.
Why are you so late, Molly? Sorry, I had a stone in my hoof.
Listen. How does the life of an animal pass in endless drudgery? What's the first lesson an animal learns to endure its savoury? How does the life of an animal end in cruel butchery? Is this empty, simply part of the order of nature? No, comrades, this farm would support a dozen horses, 20 cows, hundreds of sheep, all of them living in comfort and dignity beyond our imaginary. Our labour tills the soil, our dung fertilizes it, and yet there is not one of us who owns more than his bare skin. The produce of our labour is stolen from us by the human beings. Man is our only enemy. He is the lord of all the animals, yet he can't lay eggs and pull a plough. He is the greatest of all criminals, stealing wool for the sheep and milk and from the cow. He is the lord of all the animals and the only one who's no use, for he consumes. but he cannot produce. Never listen when they tell you that that man and the animals have a common interest, and the prosperity of the one is the prosperity of the other. You cows, what has happened to the milk which should feed your calves? Is it gone down the throat of our enemy, man? And you hens, what has happened to all the eggs that you have laid?
They have been stolen from us by our enemy, man!
And you, Clover, where are your 6 children, the fools who should have been the support and pleasure of your old age?
They were sold at a year old by our enemy, man. I will never see them again.
But even the miserable lives that we lead are not allowed to lead their natural span. You young pigs will scream your lives out on the block within a year, every one of you. No, no, no! Yes, to that horror we must all come. Cows, pigs, hens, sheep, everyone, even you, Boxer. They'll butcher you.
Why me? I work hard for them.
The day that those great muscles of yours lose their power, Jones will sell you to the knacker. He will cut your throat and boil you down to the dog food. What must we do? Why, work, comrades. Work night and day, body and soul, for the overthrow of the human race. Rebellion! This is my message to you, comrades. Rebellion! I do not know when the rebellion will come, but I know as surely as I see the straw beneath my feet that sooner or later justice will be done. But when you conquer man, do not adopt his vices. Remember that all animals are equal.
Old Major, what about the wild creatures, the rats and the rabbits? Are they our friends or our enemies?
We must decide. You must learn to vote. Each one of you must have a say in the way we lead our lives. I propose this question to the meeting. Are the wild creatures comrades? All those in favour?
And so the animals learnt to vote for the first time. It was agreed by an overwhelming majority that the wild creatures were comrades.
Agreed, agreed.
There was only one vote against, the cat. She was afterwards discovered to have voted on both sides.
Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of land and sea and skies, hear the hoofbeats of tomorrow set the golden future rise. Now the day of beasts is coming, tyrant man shall lose his throne, and the shining fields of England shall be trod by beasts alone. Tear the saddle from your back, bite and spurs shall rust forever, cruel whips no more shall crack. Beasts of England, seize the prizes, wheat and barley, oats and hay, clover beans and mangled whistles shall be ours upon that day.
Quiet! What's bothering you? Is it a fox? A fox, is it?
3 nights later, old Major died peacefully in his sleep. His body was buried at the foot of the orchard. During the next 3 months, Jones continued to starve and bully them, but now the animals had a secret. They did not know when to expect the rebellion, but they believed fervently that one day it would come. The pigs, being the cleverest of the animals, led the preparation by organising and teaching. These 3, Snowball, Squealer, and Napoleon, had elaborated old Major's teachings into a complete system of thought to which they gave the name
Animalism.
Snowball was an idealist, a pig who always dreamt of perfecting the future.
A spectre is haunting England. The spectre of animalism.
Animalism will lead us to the life of plenty. Everything that we produce we shall own, collectively.
Squealer loved to talk.
Information, comrades. Facts, comrades. These are the foundations of animalism. Without knowledge, we can have no opinions. And unless we have opinions, we cannot vote. The majority must rule.
And Napoleon was a pig they all trusted.
I'm a practical pig, a pig of few words, so I'll work hard and say little.
After Mr. Jones was asleep, they all held secret meetings in the barn.
No man, no master.
Animals help each other.
Work fast, work harder.
Work for the future, brother.
Oh, but Mr. Jones feeds us. If he were gone, we should starve to death. So we have to be loyal.
No! Animalism alters history. Two-legged creatures are the enemy. Cows, sheep, chickens, cockerel, goose. Animals shall eat what animals produce.
No man, no killing. What is our battle sequel?
A land worth tilling. All animals are equal.
I don't care what happens after I'm dead.
If this rebellion is going to happen anyway, why should we work for it?
Try to understand, comrades. Allow yourselves to live by the spirit of animalism.
No man, no master. All animals are equal.
No man, no master. No animals are equal.
Will there still be sugar after the rebellion?
You don't need sugar. You will have all the oats and hay you want.
Shall I still be able to wear ribbons in my mane?
Comrade, those ribbons are the badge of slavery. Don't you understand that liberty is worth more than ribbons?
Yeah, I suppose so. Couldn't I have some liberty ribbons?
The pigs had an even harder struggle to counteract the religious stories put about by Moses, Mr. Jones' tame raven.
Believe me, brethren, it's there, up in the sky. Believe me, brethren, it's there, up in the sky. Really beyond the fences of this life, there lies a wondrous hill, and all good creatures, when they die, go there to graze their fill.
On Sugar Candy Mountain, no labouring is done. Beside a milky fountain, the beasts lie in the sun. On Sugar Candy Mountain, you'll find a treacle lake, lumped sugar beyond counting, and fields of lacent cake. So fear no more the knacker's yard, nor dread for abattoir, but work today so you may join that Sugar Candy choir. On Sugar Candy Mountain, you'll find the treacle lake.
There's no such place, Sugar Candy Mountain, no sweet by and by. There's no such place as Sugar Candy Mountain. Sugar Candy Mountain is a lie, lie, lie. Sugar Candy Mountain is a lie.
There's no such place as Sugar Candy Mountain. Animals are slaughtered and then converted into pork or mutton pies, which are guzzled down the throats of men.
There's no such place as Sugar Candy Mountain. When you die, you die. There's no such place as Sugar Candy Mountain. Sugar Candy Mountain is a lie, lie, lie. Sugar Candy Mountain is a lie. It's mounturous, mounturous, mounturous lie.
And so they went on waiting, waiting for the rebellion. Finally, it came sooner than anyone expected. One Saturday, Mr. Jones got so drunk at the Red Lion that he did not come home till Sunday. And then he forgot to feed the animals.
Food!
Where's our food? Give us food!
Mr. Jones immediately went to sleep on the drawing room sofa, with the news of the world over his face. When evening came, the animals were still unfed, and the barn doors were padlocked.
Food! Where's our food? Give us food!
At last they could stand it no longer. And so, almost before they knew it had started, the rebellion was over. Manor Farm was theirs. They quickly wiped out all traces of the hatred Jones.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
They made a thorough inspection of the whole farm and surveyed with speechless admiration the ploughland, the hayfield, the orchard, the pool, the spinney. It was as though they had never seen these things before, and even now they could hardly believe that it was all their own. Then they filed back to the farmhouse and halted outside the door. They tiptoed from room to room, afraid to speak above a whisper. They touched with awe the unbelievable luxury, the beds, the looking glasses, the sofa, the carpets, the lithograph of Queen Victoria. Molly found a ribbon.
Ribbons are the mark of human beings. All animals should go naked.
The pigs lifted down some hams hanging in the kitchen.
Let us give them a decent burial.
I propose that this odious farmhouse should be preserved as a museum, the museum of man, the murderer. Let us put it to the vote.
Agreed! Agreed!
I have another proposal. Is it agreed that no animal shall ever live here?
Agreed! Agreed!
Mr. Jones had 4 puppies, children of the guard dogs who had fled with him. Napoleon took the puppies away to a secret place, an old incubator shed behind the farmhouse. There he fed them and looked after them. The rest of the farm soon forgot their existence. And now Snowball revealed something wonderful.
Animal Farm.
How can you read? How can you write?
During the time of preparation, we pigs taught ourselves to read and write.
From an old spelling book which belonged to Mr. Jones's children.
We found it on the rubbish dump. It is a beautiful name, Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
The pigs next explained that they had succeeded in reducing the principles of animalism to 7 commandments.
1.
1.
Two-legged beings are our enemies.
Our enemies.
2.
2.
Four-legged beings are allies and friends.
Allies and friends.
3.
3.
Animals shall never wear any clothes.
Never wear clothes.
4.
4.
Animals shall never sleep in beds.
Never sleep in beds.
5.
5.
Animals shall never drink alcohol.
No alcohol.
6.
6.
Animals shall never kill animals.
Never kill animals.
7.
7.
All animals are equal.
All animals are equal.
These are the 7 commandments. These are the unalterable laws of Animal Farm.
Hooray!
Comrades, now that we are equal, we are all equally responsible for the running of Animal Farm. So we must vote, and to vote, we must have opinions, be informed.
So do we have a leader?
You are all leaders now. all leading Animal Farm to a brighter, happier future.
But who takes the decisions?
We do.
But what if I don't agree with the other leaders?
But you will. The majority is always right.
Oh, good. Don't worry, comrade. Just be practical. If we work hard, we shall not be hungry. And if we're not hungry, we shall worry less and argue less.
That's right, Napoleon. Comrade, Napoleon is always right.
He is.
Thank you, comrades.
Now, comrades, to the hay field. Let's see if we can get harvested more quickly than Joe and his men.
Oh, wait. We haven't been milked for 24 hours. My udders is about to explode. We can do nothing without men.
So the pigs got buckets and milked the cows. They were very successful because their trotters were well adapted to this task.
Hooray!
What will happen to all that milk? Never mind the milk, comrades. That'll be attended to. The harvest is more important. Comrade Snowball will lead the way. I shall follow in a few minutes. Forward, comrades. The hay is waiting.
When they came back in the evening, the milk had disappeared. Every day it disappeared.
Comrades, you do not imagine or hope that we pigs are taking the milk in a spirit of selfishness and privilege. Many of us actually dislike milk. I dislike it myself. Our sole object is mixing it in our mash is to preserve our health. Milk, this has been proved by science. Comrades, contains substance absolutely necessary to the well-being of pigs. We pigs are brain workers. The whole management and organization of the farm depends on us. Day and night we are watching over your welfare. It is for your sake that we drink the milk.
We never asked you to. And it was never voted on at a meeting.
No.
Does Snowball know about this?
Do you know what would happen if we pigs failed in our duty? Jones would come back. Yes, Jones would come back. Surely, comrades, there is no one who wants to see Jones back.
None of us want to see Jones back.
I propose the pigs be kept in good health.
Agreed, agreed.
It's in our own interest.
I propose not only the milk, but the windfall of apples when they come, and the main crops of apple when they ripen, should be reserved for the pigs.
Agreed, agreed.
Thank you, comrades.
How they toiled and sweated to get the hay in.
Dear Boxer.
Comrade Squealer, don't say that. You sound like a man.
It may sound like that to you, comrade, but with our superior knowledge, it is natural that we pigs should direct the work and give the orders.
It was the biggest harvest the farm had ever seen. There was no wastage. The hens and ducks, with their sharp eyes, gathered up the very last stalk, and not an animal on the farm had stolen so much as a mouthful. There was plenty to eat. All through that summer, the animals were happy as they had never thought possible.
Now that the human beings have gone, there is much more to eat. The food tastes better because it's our food. We grew it ourselves.
And it's not given to us, but by a mean and grudging master.
Boxer was the admiration of everybody. He had one answer to every problem, every setback.
I will work harder.
This was now his personal motto. It was much admired.
Benjamin,
Everyone worked according to his capability. Nobody stole, nobody grumbled, or almost nobody.
Benjamin, aren't you happier without Jones? In Jones's time, I used to work hard every day. Now he's gone and everything's changed, and I still work hard every day.
Nobody shirked, or almost nobody.
Molly, you were late again for work this morning.
And you left work early this afternoon.
There was another stone in my hoof.
Ah,
On Sundays, there was no work. The day began at the flagpole.
Our land was once a forest, all green from shore to shore, till humans tore the greenwood down with axe and fire and saw. But see, the banners of the grass was raised, the trees are striding through the world, and the green flag is flying with the signs of hoof and horn. Yes, man is fleeing from the countryside, and soon our meadows shall be clean. For the green flag is flying, and all England shall be green. Shall be green, shall be green, shall be green.
The hoof and horns stand for the world republic of the animals, which will be achieved when the human race has finally been overthrown.
Hooray!
The meeting is now open.
We will take the reports from the animal committees. Every committee, comrades, has succeeded in expectations. Wherever I look, I see success. Particular praise is due to the hens for their egg production committee.
Oh, thank you very much.
To the sheep for their white wool movement.
Thanks.
And to the cows for their Clean Tails League.
oh, don't mention it.
But I'm afraid we can't praise one committee. I have to report the failure of the Wild Comrades Re-Education Committee.
The what? The Wild Comrades Re-Education Committee.
It is the best of my ideas. Its purpose is to tame the rats and the rabbits and the birds and all the wild creatures.
It has provided a wonderful opportunity. I have done much good work on the sparrows.
Well done, well done.
I want to give a report on the cat. She joined the Re-Education Committee and was very active in it for some days. One day I saw her sitting on the roof and talking to some sparrows, and they were just out of her reach. She told them that as all animals are now equal, it was safe to come and perch on her paw. But the sparrows didn't believe her and kept their distance. Now the cat no longer comes to the Re-Education Committee. I want to know why, and I want to know now. Comrades, Snowball is a brilliant pig. He inspires us all, but you can't expect that all his ideas will succeed. Now, I'm a practical pig, a pig of few words. I believe that the future lies with the young, and I believe that the education of the young is more important than the re-education of anyone, wild or not. I have therefore made myself responsible for the education of the 4 puppies, Mr. Jones's puppies. We must take care of the young.
Agreed, agreed.
Napoleon is always right.
Napoleon is always right. We must look after the young. But what about the old? I'm worried about the old animals. I propose they be allowed to retire to a home of rest in the orchard.
Agreed, agreed.
But we can't do everything at once. We must be practical. We need every able-bodied animal to work.
The old have earned some peace.
Peace! This is wartime. We're surrounded by enemies. Everyone, old or young, must be trained in the use of firearms.
No! That would be behaving like men. I will never agree to that. Remember, old Major, we must never behave like men. We must send out more and more pigeons to stir up rebellion on the other farms.
If we cannot defend ourselves, we are bound to be conquered.
If rebellions happen everywhere, we shall have no need to defend ourselves. I will not use a gun. You are wrong, Comrade Napoleon. How will you vote? All of you. I want your opinions. Who agrees with Napoleon? Who agrees with me? Boxer?
I'm thinking it over.
Benjamin, what do you think?
Not me. I'm not going to start thinking at my age.
Clover, do you think it's right?
Can't make up my mind. I always find myself in agreement with the one who spoke last.
But you must be responsible. You must start thinking for yourselves.
Let us be practical.
Yes.
Yes, let us go with the meeting. We will now all rise for the report on the reading and writing classes. All the pigs can now read and write perfectly. No further work is necessary. I wish I could say the same for the rest of the animals. Muriel reads fairly well, but is only interested in reading from scraps of newspaper on the rubbish dump, which she consequently eats. It is suspected that Benjamin can read as well as the pigs. But as far as I know, there is nothing worth reading. Clover has learned the whole alphabet, but cannot put the words together. Boxer, however, is magnificent. Boxer, will you repeat the alphabet?
E, F, G, H.
You should be doing A, B, C, D, Boxer. You knew those last week.
But this week I have learnt capitals E, F, G, H.
Yes, but now you have learned capitals E, F, G, H. You seem to have forgotten capitals A, B, C, D.
Ugh, it's too difficult. I think I shall have to be content with the first four letters.
Capitals A, B, C, D?
Yes, capitals A, B, C, D. It's the best I can do. Yes, the best. I will write them out once or twice every day to keep them fresh in my memory. So I hope it will be an example.
And what about you, Molly?
I know capitals M and O. I know capital L and capitals I and E.
Don't you know any more letters?
No, I only need to know the 6 letters which spell my name.
You must do better, Molly.
Order, comrades, order. We must not get angry at meetings. We must always be reasonable.
Let us pass on to more serious matters. Some of our weaker comrades may be unable to learn the 7 commandments by heart.
Yes.
I have reduced the commandments to a single saying: 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. This contains the essential principle of animalism, and whoever has thoroughly grasped it will be safe from human influences.
I object. I only have 2 legs. So have all birds.
This is not so, comrades. A bird's wing is an organ of propulsion, not manipulation. It should therefore be regarded as a leg. The distinguishing mark of man is the hand, the instrument with which he does all his mischief.
I don't understand. Does that mean we are good?
Yes. Yes, you are good.
Good. But I've still only got 2 legs.
It doesn't matter if you don't understand, as long as you accept my explanation. Do you accept my explanation?
Yes, we do. We accept your explanation.
So repeat after me, please. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
The sheep enjoyed the song. They went on singing for 15 minutes without stopping. Meanwhile, Mr. Jones was at the Red Lion every night complaining.
I think everyone should know Every man, every animal, the terrible wickedness that's now flourishing at Manor Farm. No, I won't call it Animal Farm. They'd be starving if they didn't practice cannibalism. Do you know that they torture each other with red-hot horseshoes? Worst of all, they have their females in common.
The other farmers were frightened by the rebellion at Animal Farm and very anxious to stop their own animals hearing too much about it. But rumours of a wonderful farm where the animals managed without human beings continued to circulate. The pigs saw to that. They sent out flights of pigeons to mingle with the animals on neighbouring farms, tell them about the rebellion, and teach them the tune of Beasts of England.
How can these animals bring themselves to sing such contemptible rubbish? They need a good flogging.
And yet the song was irrepressible. The blackbirds whistled it in the hedges. The pigeons cooed it in the elms. It got into the din of the smithies and the tune of the church bells. The human beings listened and secretly trembled, for they heard in the song a prophecy of their future doom.
Jones! Jones is coming!
The attack had long been expected, and everyone was prepared. Snowball had studied an old book of Julius Caesar's campaigns, which he had found in the farmhouse. He gave his orders quickly, and in a couple of minutes, every animal was at his post.
Retreat! Retreat! After them! Charge! Animals, away, away!
He's dead. I didn't mean to do that. I forgot that I was wearing iron shoes.
No sentimentality, comrade. War is war. The only good human being is a dead human being.
I don't want to take life, not even a human life.
But see, the banners of the grass are raised, the trees are striding through the dawn.
Quickly, after him!
No, let him go. He was only a lad.
Comrades, we must commemorate this great day. Medals must be awarded.
Medals?
I suggest Animal Hero, first class.
I propose that Boxer be named Animal Hero, first class.
Agreed.
Give Snowball a medal too.
Our dear comrade here is also a hero. But alas, he is a dead hero.
Let us confer a decoration posthumously on him. Animal Hero, second class.
Agreed, agreed.
Oh, have they all gone?
Yes.
Is it safe?
Yes.
I'm sorry I couldn't stay. I had to hide my head in the hay. I can't stand explosions.
Comrades, what shall we call this glorious day every October the 12th? Every anniversary we shall have a celebration. And what shall the battle be called?
There is only one name for the battle. Snowball's battle.
No. I think you will agree that this is the wrong name. You all fought this battle. You all brought us victory. Let it be named the Battle of the Cowshed. That was, after all, the place where the ambush was sprung.
Agreed, agreed.
Now winter drew on.
Molly, I have something very serious to say to you. This morning I saw you looking over the hedge that divides Animal Farm from Mr. Pilkington's farm. Mr. Pilkington was standing on the other side of the hedge, and I was a long way away, but I'm almost certain I saw this. He was talking to you, and you were allowing him to stroke your nose. What does that mean, Molly? It didn't. I wasn't. It's not true. Molly, look me in the face. Do you give me your word of honour that Mr. Pilkington was not stroking your nose? How dare you ask me such questions?
3 days later, Molly disappeared.
We have seen Molly on the other side of the village. She was between the shafts of a smart dog cart painted red and black. Mr. Pilkington was stroking her nose and feeding her sugar. 27 ribbons, 27 ribbons, sugar lumps for Molly, a kindly blacksmith and a gentle vet. Master brought my ribbons and my shiny brasses. Give the humans what they want, and that is what you'll get. And the wheels flow around with a whirring, purring sound as I step along Speedwell Lane and I hurry home to the currycomb with 27 multicoloured ribbons in my mane. 27 ribbons, sugar lumps for Molly, careful grooming. After every trip, I have heard some horses say that man is cruel, but if you're obedient, you'll seldom feel the whip. Yes, the wheels flow around with a whirring, purring sound as I step along Speedwell Lane and I hurry home to the currycomb with 27 multicoloured ribbons in my mane. 27 ribbons, 27 ribbons, 27 ribbons in my mane.
None of the animals ever mentioned Molly again. By custom, it was now expected that the pigs should decide all questions of farm policy, but their decision still had to be ratified by a majority vote. This arrangement would have worked well enough if it had not been for the continual disputes between Snowball and Napoleon.
I propose that we sow a bigger acreage with barley.
I propose we sow a bigger acreage with oats.
The big copse meadow is just right for the cabbages.
The meadow is useless for anything except roots.
Oh, comrades, comrades!
At the meetings, Snowball often won over the majority by his brilliant speeches.
Yesterday had the smell of blood, slavery, loss and pain. Today is sweaty with constant work, and I know you feel the strain. But tomorrow is your children's day, and we labour so they may gain the potatoes and the apples and the barley of the future, with its deep green meadows and its towering golden grain. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We spend too much time, comrades, carting dung. I ask you to support this scheme. Here is a map of the farm. Each animal is given a starting point. He moves 3 steps a day. If all animals drop their dung directly in the field and at a different spot each day, the saving of labour in carting will...
May I interrupt? I have no schemes. I believe in quiet, conscientious work, not risks.
Napoleon was better at canvassing support for himself between the meetings. He was especially successful with the sheep, who were always ready to interrupt when Snowball's scheme sounded too difficult.
Snowball's scheme may be very ingenious, but it won't work.
Yes, it will work.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Now then, the sheep must allow us to talk. We must say what we think.
Of course, Boxer.
But of all their controversies, the most bitter was the one over the windmill. The windmill designed by Snowball.
Snowball!
I'm here, comrade.
This windmill of yours is impossible.
Difficult, comrade, difficult, but not impossible. We will have to gather some stone for its walls. We will have to make sails. We will have to buy dynamos. I believe all of this can be accomplished in 1 year.
1 year?
It will supply our farm with electrical power.
But we can't do everything at once. Why can't you be realistic?
I am being realistic. This power will do your work for you. You can graze at your ease in the fields, improve your minds with reading and conversation. So much labor will be saved that you animals will only need to work 3 days a week.
Snowball, how do you think of this?
Mr. Jones left an excellent book behind, 1,000 useful things to do about the house. It has taught me how to lay bricks, how to understand electricity. So now I can build windmills.
Put it to the vote. Put it to the vote.
We'll be past voting, comrades, when our stomachs are empty. I'm a plain pig, a practical pig, and I say this. The great need at the moment is to increase food production. If we waste time on windmills, we'll starve to death.
Do you deny my ideas?
Yes, I deny your ideas.
The animals are furious. War was near. They no longer wanted to argue. They wanted to fight.
A vote for Snowball means food for the future.
Vote for Napoleon and eat it now.
A vote for Snowball means food for the future.
Oh, vote for Napoleon and we eat now.
Think, comrades, how life can be on Animal Farm when sordid labour is shifted from our back. I am thinking far beyond chaff cutters and turnip slices. Electricity can do many things. It can operate threshing machines, ploughs and harrows, rollers and reapers, and it can supply every stall with its own electric light, its own hot and cold water, an electric heater. Think of the future. Think of your children. Think of your dignity, the dignity of animals when they're freed from toil. Do you vote for the windmill?
Yes, we do. We vote for the windmill.
Snowball's gone.
Gone.
Yes, gone. Gone back to the world of men where he belongs. Snowball, who we now see, was little better than a traitor and a coward.
He wasn't.
He fought bravely at the Battle of the Cowshed.
Only the guilty run away, and I believe the time will come when we shall discover that Snowball's part in the battle was much exaggerated. Do you still support Snowball, comrades? Snowball with his moonshine of windmills?
Where do those dogs come from?
They are my puppies. I've brought them up to be big dogs.
They wag their tails at you just as their parents wagged their tails at Mr. Jones.
That's right, Benjamin. They are well trained. From now on, the Sunday morning debates are cancelled. They are unnecessary and waste time. In future, all questions relating to the working of the farm will be settled by a special committee of pigs, presided over by me. We shall meet in private and afterwards communicate our decisions to the rest of you. All you animals will still assemble on Sunday morning to sing the green flag, and of course to receive your orders for the week, but there will be no more debates.
No more debates?
If there's no debate, there's no Animal Farm.
Shan't we vote anymore?
No, Boxer, but your wishes will be carefully considered by the special committee of the pigs. We live in dangerous times. We must show solidarity and have strong leadership. We must defend ourselves from our enemies.
I'm sure Comrade Napoleon would be only too happy to let you make your own decisions by yourselves. But sometimes you might make the wrong decisions, and then where should we be?
That's right.
Discipline, comrade. Iron discipline. That is the watchword for today. One false step and our enemies will be upon us. Surely, comrades, you don't want Jones back.
Once again, this argument was unanswerable.
No, we don't want Jones back.
But why can't we vote? Comrades, I trust every animal here appreciates the sacrifice that Comrade Napoleon has made in taking his extra labour upon himself. Do not imagine, comrades, that leadership is pleasure. On the contrary, it is deep and a heavy responsibility.
If having debates on Sunday mornings will bring Jones back, then the debates must stop.
Perhaps the farmers will get to hear of our disagreements and think we are weak.
Comrades, I have now had time to think things over, and I think I have a solution. What Comrade Napoleon is offering us is leadership. He is a practical pig, a pig of few words. Let's do what he says. Agreed?
Agreed, agreed.
Thank you, comrades.
We have chosen wisely, comrades. Napoleon is always right. Long live Animal Farm.
Long live Animal Farm.
Every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, the animals assembled to pay their respects to old Major. His skull, now clean of flesh, had been disinterred from the orchard and nailed to a telegraph pole.
And now Minimus, the first animalist poet, will pay his tribute to old Major.
Once all us animals' eyes were blind to the fact of our slavery. Old Major had a very clever mind. He showed us men's knavery. Old Major, please feed us. Help us with our daily war. Old Major, please lead us. Thank you very much, great boar. So let us salute the skull of Major then. Oh, behold his enormous brains, and every Sunday, when the clock strikes 10, we'll march past his remains.
I have a brief announcement, comrades. We must look to the future. Animalism will lead us to incredible achievements. No task is too great for animalism. The Special Committee of Pigs expects that the building of the windmill will take 2 years.
But I thought that Napoleon thought that the windmill...
Napoleon was never actually opposed to the windmill. The plan which Snowball drew was copied from some papers stolen from Napoleon. The windmill was actually Napoleon's own creation, and it always was. Then why did he speak so strongly against it? That was Comrade Napoleon's cunning. He seemed to oppose the windmill simply as maneuver to get rid of Snowball. This is something called tactics. Napoleon is expert at tactics.
But why did he want to get rid of Snowball?
Because he was not practical, comrades, not realistic. He went too fast. I suppose you could say he was leading us quickly to starvation. The windmill will prevent that.
If Comrade Napoleon says we need a windmill, then we must build a windmill. Agreed?
Agreed, agreed.
Thank you, comrades.
But the windmill proved difficult because there were no stones on the farm. There were some huge boulders on top of a cliff, but the problem was how to break the boulders into pieces the right size. After weeks of thought, the pigs had an idea.
We will shove the huge boulders over the edge of the cliff. We will smash them by using the force of gravity.
There was a whacking great limestone boulder. Must have weighed near a ton. I tried to shift it with my shoulder. Ugh, couldn't be done. So I called a passing comrade over, and she came on the run.
We tried to move that limestone boulder. Ugh, couldn't be done. We appealed to the sheep committee, called up the goats brigade and the chickens and the geese to shift that rock. Ugh.
But it just stayed.
It just stayed where it was, that great lump of stone, and all of the beasts gave a mighty moan. We'll never shift it. The rock's too big.
Give it one more try.
There's a stout-hearted pig.
So we gave one more shove, and we gave one more lift, and that whacking great boulder started to shift. And we gave it a shove with all our heart and soul, and that whacking great boulder started to roll and roll and roll, and there was a whacking great limestone boulder, but the animals worked as one. Yes, through animal cooperation, anything can be done. Anything can be done. Anything can be done.
Boxer, don't overstrain yourself.
We're not getting enough food. I'll pick up when the spring grass comes on.
I am worried about you, Boxer. You think there are two answers to every problem. I will work harder, or Napoleon is always right.
They are the answers.
All that year, the animals worked like slaves to till the fields. They also worked to build the windmill. But they were happy in their work. Everything they did was for their own benefit and for those who would come after them, not for a pack of idle, thieving human beings.
Comrades, in the future, there will be work on Sunday afternoons. This work is, of course, strictly voluntary, but any animal who absents himself from it must expect to have his rations reduced by half. Furthermore, I have decided on a new policy. From now on, Animal Farm will engage in trade with neighbouring farms.
Comrade Napoleon, will you repeat that?
Animal Farm will engage in trade with neighbouring farms. This is, of course, not for any commercial purpose. We need money to buy the materials which are urgently necessary. Tools, paraffin oil, string and dog biscuits. I am therefore making arrangements to sell a stack of hay and part of our current wheat crop. If we need more money later to buy a dynamo for the windmill, for instance, it will have to be obtained by the sale of eggs. There is always a market for eggs in the village. What? What about our chicks? The hens should welcome this sacrifice as their own special contribution towards the building of the windmill.
Comrade leader, we represent the younger pigs, and we must object. These were among the earliest resolutions passed after Jones was expelled. 1. Never to have any dealings with human beings. 2. Never to engage in trade. 3. Never to make us use of money.
Are you certain this isn't something you have dreamed, comrade? Have you any record of these resolutions? Are they written down anywhere? I remember them.
We all remember them.
Comrade Snowball always told us not to behave like men.
Yes, that's right.
4 legs good, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, 2 legs bad. There is no need for any further discussion. I recognise necessity. We need money, so we will engage in trade. I have made all the arrangements. There will be no need for any of you animals to come into contact with human beings. That would clearly be most undesirable. I shall do that myself. Mr. Whymper, a solicitor living in the village, has agreed to act as the agent between Animal Farm and the outside world. He will visit the farm every Monday morning to receive his instructions. Long live Animal Farm!
Long live Animal Farm!
Every Monday, Mr. Whymper visited the farm. The animals watched him with dread. Nevertheless, the sight of Napoleon on all fours, delivering orders to Whymper, who stood on 2 legs, roused their pride and partly reconciled them to the new arrangement.
Do I make myself clear?
Perfectly, Mr. Napoleon.
Checks are no use to me. I need £5 notes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
That makes £50.
£50?
Thank you, Mr. Whymper.
It's been a great pleasure, Mr. Napoleon.
It was about this time that the pigs suddenly moved into the farmhouse.
Why are they going in there?
It is absolutely necessary that the pigs, who are after all the brains of the farm, should have a quiet place to work in. It is also more suited to the dignity of the leader to live in a house than a mere sty.
I hear that the pigs take their meals in the kitchen and use the drawing room to play in and sleep in beds. Never!
Napoleon is always right.
I remember a definite ruling against beds. Muriel, read me the 4th commandment.
It says, animals should never sleep in beds with sheets on.
I don't remember the 4th commandment mentioning sheets.
But it must have done. It's there on the wall.
Comrades, you did not suppose, surely, comrade, that there was ever a ruling against beds? A bed merely means a place to sleep in. A pile of straw in a stall is a bed, properly regarded. The rule was against sheets, which are of a human invention. We have removed the sheets from the farmhouse beds and sleep between blankets, and very comfortable blankets they are too.
By the autumn, the animals were tired but happy. They had had a hard year, and after selling part of the hay and corn to Mr. Whymper, they were still hungry. But the windmill compensated for everything.
We are working harder. We are building our windmill.
Hooray!
Only old Benjamin refused to grow enthusiastic.
But windmills, electricity, the more you have, the more you want. God has given me a tail to keep the flies off, but I'd sooner have no tail and no flies.
In January, food fell short. For days at a time, the animals had nothing to eat but chaff and mangles.
Food! Where's our food? Give us food!
You heard what the pigeons are saying. When we're really weak, Jones intends to bring 20 men against us, all armed with guns.
Starvation stared them in the face. But it was vitally necessary to hide this face from the outside world.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another £50 for your very fine grain, Mr. Napoleon.
Thank you, Mr. Whymper.
I hear rumours in the village that you're running short of food.
Not so, Mr. Whymper.
Won't you sell me some more grain then, Mr. Napoleon?
No, the animals must be fed and fed well. Goodbye, Mr. Whymper.
Very well. Cheerio, Mr. Napoleon.
Mr. Whymper had been nicely fooled. The grain bins had been filled at Napoleon's order with sand, which was then covered with what was left of the grain. In fact, the animals were desperately hungry.
Comrades, we need grain. Napoleon has therefore decreed that the hens must surrender their eggs.
What?
He has accepted, through the good offices of Whymper, a contract for 400 eggs a week. The price of these will pay for enough grain and meal to give us food until summer.
But the clutches are ready for spring sitting. It's murder if you take the eggs away now.
And for the first time since the expulsion of Jones, there was something resembling a rebellion.
We can't spare the eggs.
You must do your duty.
We can't spare the eggs. Can't you see we're broody?
We must have the eggs. We must pay our way now.
It's murder. Yes, murder to take our eggs away now.
Consider economics. The eggs have got to go.
Consider our unborn chicks.
We must have the eggs.
No, no, till each egg has the right to become a hen, there'll be no more eggs to be sold to men. There'll be no more eggs at all. Let the eggs rain down from the hen house sky. Let the egg yolks dry. Till each egg has the right to become a hen, there'll be no more eggs to be sold to men. There'll be no eggs at all. Our feathered comrades, it appears, have lost all sense of reason, and their reactionary acts are tantamount to treason. To turn them back to sanity and save them from self-slaughter, I order that the hens shall be deprived of food and water.
For 5 days the hens held out.
Till each egg has the right to become a hen, there'll be no eggs at all. Let the eggs rain down from the hen house sky. Let the eggshells smash. Let the good yolks dry.
Finally, they capitulated and went back to their nesting boxes. 9 hens had died. From now on, a grocer's van drove up to the farm once a week to take the eggs away, and once a week the animals watched them go. But they still had no more to eat. There was secret whispering in the night, a whispering that Napoleon, like Snowball, was soon to be chased away. Who was to chase him? Where was Mr. Whymper's money going? Why was there no food? Morale was very low. Napoleon knew that he had to do something.
Comrades, I have alarming news. Snowball is secretly frequenting the farm by night. He has stolen the corn, upset the milk, broken the eggs, trampled the seed beds, gnawed the bark off the fruit trees. Did you notice that window that was broken last week? Did you notice the drain of the cowshed? It was blocked up. I will go further. I believe that the lost key of the store shed was filched by Snowball and thrown down the well. Any animal who can give evidence of Snowball's villainies will be rewarded with extra rations.
Extra rations?
Oh, Snowball has crept into our stall and milked us in our sleep. All of us. Oh, yes, all of us.
There must obviously be a full investigation into Snowball's activities. Snowball! He has been here. I can smell him distinctly.
The animals were thoroughly frightened. It seemed to them that Snowball was an invisible influence who was everywhere.
Comrades, the most terrible thing has been discovered. We had thought that Snowball's opposition to Comrade Napoleon was caused by his vanity and ambition, but we were wrong, comrades. Snowball was in league with Jones from the very start, who was Jones' secret agent all the time. This has been proved by documents which have only just been discovered. To my mind, this explains a great deal, comrades. Did we not see for ourselves how he attempted to get us defeated and destroyed at the Battle of the Cowshed?
Didn't. Snowball fought bravely at the Battle of the Cowshed. I saw him myself. We made him animal hero, first class, immediately afterwards.
That was our mistake, comrades, for we now know that in reality he was trying to lure us to our doom. Do you not remember how Snowball suddenly turned and fled, and many animals followed him? Surely you remember that, comrades.
I remember that Snowball turned and retreated.
That was his tactics, military tactics. Comrade Squealer, I do not believe that Comrade Snowball was a traitor at the beginning. What he has done since is different. But I believe that at the Battle of the Cowshed, he was a good comrade.
Our leader, Comrade Napoleon, has stated categorically, comrades, that Snowball was Jones's agent from the very beginning. Yes, and from long before the rebellion was ever thought of.
Comrade Napoleon says that.
Yes, he does.
Then that is different. If Comrade Napoleon says it, it must be right.
There you are, comrades. There you see the true spirit of animalism.
Comrades, we have been robbed. When I capture Whymper, he shall be boiled in oil and then torn apart by every pig on the farm. The £5 notes are forgeries. Whymper's got the eggs for nothing. Death to Whymper.
Death to Whymper! Death to Whymper!
Let me give you a warning. Every animal on this farm must keep its eyes very wide open. We know that some of you are Snowball's secret agents. We know you are. We have sniffed you out and will hunt you down.
4 days later, Napoleon ordered all the animals to assemble.
Comrades, there is a terrible threat to our future. There are traitors here on Animal Farm. The traitors must be brought to justice.
Bring them before us. Let the trials commence.
We represent the younger pigs.
Confess your crimes.
What?
Confess your crimes.
Yes, we have been secretly in touch with Snowball. Ever since his expulsion, we collaborated with him, and we have entered into an agreement with him to hand over Animal Farm to Mr. Jones.
What has Snowball admitted to you?
He has been Jones's secret agent for many years.
It saddens me that the younger pig should be guilty of such treason.
You told us we would live if we confessed.
Has any other animal anything to confess?
Confess.
Snowball appeared to me in a dream and incited me to disobey Napoleon's orders. We led the rebellion over the eggs. We fully confess our faults.
Next, confess.
I confess to having hidden 6 turnips during last year's harvest. I have eaten them one by one in secret, night after night.
The air was heavy with the smell of blood, unknown since the days of Jones. But this seemed far worse. Until today, no animal had killed another animal. Not even a rat had been killed.
What are you going to do, Boxer?
Do not understand it. I would not have believed it. The only solution, as I see it, is to work harder. From now on, I shall get up a full hour earlier in the mornings and work.
Say what you think, but the best thing to think is nothing. That's excellent thinking. Eat what you like, but the best food to like is nothing. It's not on the ration. Do what you want, but the best thing to do is nothing. And mind how you do it. Go where you want, but the best place to go is nowhere. You might get permission. Obey them. When they tell you what to do, you are nothing, nothing. Believe them when they tell you what is true. You're nothing, nothing. Keep your nose to the grindstone and your shoulder to the wheel. Listen when they tell you what to feel and feel what you like. But the best thing to feel is nothing, is nothing.
Can you read the 6th commandment, please, Benjamin?
I refuse to meddle in such matters.
Will you read it, Muriel?
Animals shall never kill animals without good cause.
I don't remember those last 3 words. Without good cause.
The commandment has not been violated. There was good reason to kill any animal who helped Snowball.
We must start again. We must try to remember what old Major said and start again. Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of land and sea and skies.
Comrades, by a special decree of Comrade Napoleon, beasts of England has been abolished. From now on, it is forbidden to sing it.
Why?
It is no longer needed, comrade, that's why. Beasts of England expressed our longing for a better society in the days to come, but now the days to come have come. That society has been established. Clearly, the song no longer has any purpose.
Well, do you agree? I want to know.
Yes.
But see, the trotters of the pigs are raised. The swine advance with Belize, stow, and the green flag is flying, with the curly tail and stow. Yes, pigs are leading all the animals who follow them. No reason why. But the green flag is flying, and all England is our sty, is our sty, is our sty.
Somehow or other, that song doesn't seem to come up to beast of, to what we used to sing. Somehow or other, that song doesn't seem to come up to beast of,
Shush!
to what we used to sing.
As the summer wore on, the rumours of an impending attack grew stronger and stronger. It was harvest time. It was inexplicable that there was no food. It was also inexplicable that Mr. Whymper was visiting the farm again. In fact, all the grain was being secretly sold to him for ready cash so that the pigs could buy whiskey.
Animalism is a complicated business. Inflexible equality is unrealistic. Our system's successful, though with certain contradictions. The proof is in the pudding. Let me quote you statistics. The production of every class of foodstuff has increased, some by 200%, some by 300%, some by 500%. As the case might be, isn't this a great achievement? We're still hungry. What? Speak up, Benjamin. Let us hear your thoughts. I have no thoughts. Then look happy. Do you never laugh, Benjamin? I see nothing to laugh about. But we want you to laugh, Benjamin. All of us. Come on, laugh. Next time, Benjamin, laugh when I tell you to.
In September, by a tremendous effort, the windmill was finished.
Hooray!
May I personally congratulate each and every animal on this achievement. The mill will be called Napoleon Mill.
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray! Comrades, comrades, comrades. I have a new poem. It is an ode to our father, Comrade Napoleon. It is entitled Comrade Napoleon, friend of the fatherless, fountain of the happiness, lord of the swill bucket. Oh, how my soul is on fire when I gaze at thee, calm and commanding eye, like the sun in the sky. Comrade Napoleon, Comrade Napoleon, Comrade Napoleon.
I approve of this poem.
Yippee!
Such loyal sentiments are more than welcome in these treacherous times. I will reward you by appointing you my first taster.
What do I have to taste?
You will have the first taste of every meal served to me in case my enemies have poisoned it.
Early in the new year, Animal Farm was proclaimed a republic.
The president, who was elected unanimously, is me.
Comrade Napoleon, Comrade Napoleon, Comrade Napoleon.
That night, the sound of loud singing came from the farmhouse.
Pigs of England, seize the prizes, wheat and barley, oats and hay.
The pigs had for some time been using all the money to buy more and more whiskey. At about 9:30, Napoleon, wearing Mr. Jones' old bowler hat, galloped out of the house.
On the dusty day when I was born, I was not very big. In fact, of a litter of 17, I was the smallest pig. It was more of a scramble than a birthday, and I came out back to front. I was last of the bunch when it came to lunch. Yes, I was the litter's runt. But a runt has to fight for his share of the milk. If he fancies staying alive, he'll kick with his feet and cling to the teat, and the runt may yet survive. And if that young runt grabs enough of the swill, then his bite will be worse than his grunt. He'll grow stately and stout, with an eloquent snout, but he knows he was the runt. And the runt seizes power, for he knows all the tricks. Those he bites will never bite back, and the piglet who once was the weakest of runts shall be the leader of the pack, shall be the leader, shall be the leader, shall be the leader. I've created a new decoration, the Order of the Green Banner. I've conferred it on myself.
And the very next morning, the attack came. The animals awoke to find that the men had surrounded the windmill in the night. It was clear they intended to blow it up.
It's impossible. We have built the walls far too thick for that. Courage, comrades!
Without warning for any orders, the animals charged.
Charge!
They chased the men over the fields and off the farm.
Our windmill is gone. Even the foundations are destroyed.
It's as though it had never been.
Hooray!
Why are you cheering?
Celebrate our victory.
What victory?
What victory, comrade? Have we not driven the enemy of our soul, the sacred soul of Animal Farm?
But they've destroyed our windmill, and we have worked on it for 2 years.
What does it matter? We will build another windmill.
And another windmill.
We will build 6 windmills if we feel like it. You do not appreciate, comrade, the mighty thing that we have done. The enemy was in occupation of the very ground that we stand upon, and now, thanks to the leadership of Comrade Napoleon, we have won every inch of it back again.
Then we have won back what we already had.
Yes, that is our victory.
On this day of joy, you must hear the other good news. There is now no more fear on Animal Farm. The traitor Snowball has been eliminated. One of our comrades, a bull, who I will not name for reasons of security, is enslaved on the farm where Snowball has been wallowing in luxury. This hero broke into Snowball's sty and gored him to death. Snowball is no more. You need be frightened no longer.
I shall write a poem about it.
Excellent.
For the first time, it occurs to me that I am getting old.
A horse's lungs do not last forever.
They'll keep me going long enough to see the windmill rebuilt.
There was a racking great limestone boulder, but the animals worked as one. Yes, through animal cooperation, anything can be done. Anything can be done. Anything can be done.
Boxer, what is it?
It's my lung. It doesn't matter. I think we'll be able to finish the windmill now without me. There's a pretty good store of stone.
Comrade Napoleon has learned of the deepest distress of this misfortune to one of the most loyal workers on the farm. He is already making arrangements to send Boxer to be treated in the village hospital.
Why? I don't like animals leaving the farm.
And I don't like to think of a sick comrade in the hands of human beings. The veterinary surgeon in the village can treat Boxer's case more satisfactorily. It is the best thing for him.
I will be well, friends, and I'll retire, friends, to the shadow of the chestnut tree, with time for thinking and time for learning the remainder of my ABC. D.
The next day, a van arrived to take Boxer away.
Goodbye, Boxer.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Boxer. Goodbye.
Fools, fools. Can't you see what is written on the side of the fan?
Alfred Simmons, horse S-L-E-R.
Oh, shut up. Let me read it.
Horsley.
Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler. They are taking Boxer to the knackers.
Boxer?
Boxer! Boxer, get out! Get out quickly! They're taking you to your death!
Boxer!
Comrade, don't take your brother to his death!
Boxer!
In a few moments, the sound of drumming hoofs grew fainter and died away. 3 days later, Squealer made an announcement.
It has come to my knowledge that a foolish and wicked rumour has been circulating. Some of you noticed that the fan which took Boxer away was marked horse slaughterer, and have actually come to the conclusion that Boxer was being sent to the knackers. It is almost unbelievable that any animal should be so stupid. Surely you know your beloved leader, Comrade Napoleon, better than that. The explanation is really very simple. The fan had previously been the property of the knacker and had been bought by the veterinary surgeon who had not yet painted the old name out. That was how the mistake arose.
I'm very relieved to hear it.
Oh, am I?
Our beloved Comrade Boxer is dead. He died in the village hospital in spite of receiving every attention a horse could have.
Comrades, it has not after all been possible to bring back our lamented comrade's remains. In a few days' time, we pigs intend to hold a memorial banquet in Boxer's honour. Whiskey will be drunk to his memory.
I am happy to say that I was present during Boxer's last hours. It was the most affecting sight I've ever seen. Forward, comrades, he whispered. Forward in the name of the rebellion. Long live Animal Farm. Long live Comrade Napoleon. Napoleon is always right.
I believe those maxims are one which every animal would do well to adopt as his own. Were those his last words?
They were.
Napoleon is always right.
Napoleon is always right. Always right. Always right. We will work harder. We will work harder.
Years passed. Seasons came and went. The short animal lives fled by. Jones was dead. He had died in a home for drunks in another part of the country. The farm was more prosperous now. The windmill had been successfully rebuilt at last. But it was not, after all, used for generating electrical power. It was hired out for milling corn to neighbouring farmers and brought in a great deal of money. But the luxuries which Snowball had once taught the animals to dream of, the stall with electric light and hot and cold water, the 3-day week, well, they were no longer talked about. Napoleon was now a mature boar of 24 stone. One day, the 4 sows all littered simultaneously, producing 31 young pigs between them. As Napoleon was now the only boar left on the farm, it was easy to guess at their parentage. Once again, all rations were reduced. Only the pigs and dogs ate well.
Food! Where's our food? Give us food!
However much things change, they always remain the same.
Armed to the teeth, we march along. Bullets, not barley, we need. Can't you hear the alarm? We'll save our farm before we feed. This isn't what we wanted. This isn't what we meant when our great rebellion began. We hoped to make a farm where all animals were free of hunger, whips, and man.
You must be strong to grow animalism. Rake out the stones, rip out the weeds. We'll reap the harvest of animalism, marching wherever Napoleon leads. At least we work for ourselves. None of us goes upon 2 legs. None of us calls another creature master. all animals are equal.
I think the world's been turned upside down.
I shall protest. For the first time in my life, I shall protest. You pigs have gone far enough.
4 legs good, 4 legs good, 2 legs better, 2 legs better. Oh, my sight's failing. The wall looks different. Muriel, read what you see.
No, I won't. I will never read anything again.
Will you read it, Benjamin?
There's only one commandment now, and just the once I'll break my rule and read it to you. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
A week later, in the afternoon, a number of human visitors arrived at the farm. The farmers were shown around and expressed great admiration for everything they saw, especially the windmill.
Gentlemen, there was a time when the existence of a farm owned and operated by pigs was somehow felt to be abnormal. But what do I and my friends find here today? Not only, but most up-to-date methods for discipline and order, which should be an example of all farmers everywhere. I believe indeed that the lower animals on Animal Farm do more work and receive less food than any animal in the country.
I too am happy that the period of misunderstanding is at an end. For a long time there were rumours, circulated, I have reason to believe, by some malignant enemy, that there was something subversive and even revolutionary in the outlook of myself and my colleagues. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our sole wish now, and in the past, is to live at peace and in normal business relations with our neighbours.
That evening, loud laughter and bursts of singing came from the farmhouse.
And in conclusion, may I say that we have learnt a great deal here today.
What could be happening in there, now that for the first time animals and human beings were meeting on terms of equality? All the other animals crept to the dining room window and peered and listened.
Between pigs and human beings, there is not, and there need not be, any clash of interest whatsoever. Our struggles and our difficulties are the same. It is not a labour problem, the same everywhere. If you have your lower animals, we have here our lowest classes. And now, gentlemen and ladies, will you be upstanding? Gentlemen, I give you a toast to the prosperity of Animal Farm. Animal Farm!
I only have one criticism to make on Mr. Pilkington's excellent and neighbourly speech. He referred throughout to Animal Farm. Mr. Pilkington could, of course, not know, for I am announcing it now for the first time, that the name Animal Farm has been abolished. Henceforward, the farm is to be known as Manor Farm. I believe that is its correct and original name. Gentlemen, I give you the same toast as before, but in a different form. To the prosperity of Manor Farm.
Manor Farm! More profit for fewer people.
More power and fewer hands.
More control of beast and human.
Use every inch of land. I see the future shine on me, and pictures of the times to be, where chickens hatch 10,000 eggs and never need to stretch their legs.
And sheep in crates may spend their days and grow us wool but never graze.
I see the future shine on me, and pictures of a times to be. The silky mink shall grow us fur inside a box.
And calves be born, grow up, give birth, and die but never walk on earth.
I see the future shine on me, and pictures of the times to be, where day and night, and heat and cold, and birth and death controlled, and profit rules, and all is calm. Our England's grey, and a modern farm. But profit rules, and all is calm on England's grey and modern farm. Science is a wonderful thing. In order to produce more meat and clothing, we men are developing a pig that can grow wool. What?
We pigs are experimenting with a human being who will lay eggs.
What?
The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which.
You've been listening to an Alfie James production, Animal Farm by George Orwell, performed by members of the Black Dog Theatre Creation and music arranged by Philip D. and Marco A., supported by the Arts Council England, the Colchester Borough Council and the Asda Community Foundation.